It was a catastrophic failure, allowing more than 25 million cubic meters of toxic sludge into the environment. Last August, the tailings pond breached at the Mount Polley Copper gold mine, spilling contaminated soup into Quesnel Lake. At the time and in the months since, UNBC researchers have been taking samples. Today, they released their results.
Immediately after the breach, water levels in Quesnel Lake rose by 8 centimetres and the temperature of the water rose by as much as 2.5 degrees within the sediment that settled on the bottom of the lake. What didn't settle, though, was ultra-fine.
The significance of having these very small, fine particles is that they have a very large surface area. So they might act on the environment as a physical ailment, so you have a physical disruption of the environment or the habitat, but also the opportunity for chemical reactions on the surface of those very fine particles is very important.
The nature of the fine clay sediment attracts heavy metals. One of those heavy metals is copper, which was determined to be about 4 times the levels considered safe for aquatic life, according to the Canadian Sediment Quality Guidelines. The researchers expected the sediment plume to move toward the Quesnel River, but it went places they had not expected.
Into the east and north arm, which are pristine and not immediately affected at the time of the spill, but through that seiching, through that rocking back and forth of the water, that sediment plume will reach areas in the lake that we didn't think it would. So owing to having that data, we know that it will.
What are you going to do about it? It's leaching into the system. We know that.
Terry Teegee says there have always been some misgivings about mines, but the results of this research hold invaluable information.
And I think that's the thing that would make First Nations and also British Columbians to make a decision, informed decision on these massive projects and on what are the risks to tailings ponds and what are the risks to mine development.
Unfortunately, the true impacts of the breach will not be known for some time.
Obviously, I think there's going to be detrimental effects right off the get-go, but the long-term effects, 5, 10, 20 years down the road, you're going to see those issues coming up, and so what do we do about it?
If we were to study this lake, to look at any other impacts, we would have a 4, 5, 6 year study and then make conclusions out of that. We're 8 months removed from the event.
Just do that one more time. Yep.
For researchers, the question remains as to how well Quesnel Lake and all that lives within it can withstand this level of contamination. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.